take some time to go through the first session, and it's kind of called the walk around the wheel. Getting comfortable with what that wheel of health and wellness is, and exploring some ways that you can look into those in your life, things that you can do to address those certain areas if it's something that you want to improve on, work on, or focus on, or may have some personal goals toward. So if you open up your book, if you have one, if you don't have a book and if you'd like one, you can call us at 501-257-3441, and we can get one mailed to you or brought to you wherever you may be. When you open up the book, in the very beginning, it talks about the Health and Wellness Guide. It just gives you a little bit about what it's about. And then the next page, you'll see the Personal Health Inventory. It's a front and back tool. We won't do that till closer to the end. I like to review everything in the book and then have you complete the Personal Health Inventory. Once you've kind of covered everything in the book, you have a better idea of what's important to you or how to answer those questions in that Personal Health Inventory. So we're going to go ahead and go to the next page after the Personal Health Inventory, and we're going to talk about the Wheel of Health and Wellness, or the Circle of Health and Wellness, if you will. The most important thing about that circle is that in the center, it's you. For me, I'm my number one priority. I got to make sure I'm healthy and well and mindful of everything I'm doing. So I want you to think about yourself in the middle of that circle as we go through this workbook. What's important to you as an individual, and how those things pertain to you as we talk to each area. It may be different. What's important to you is going to be different for somebody else. This is strictly about you and what's important to you. So next, outside of the mindfulness me in the center, is the green area with circles. And those are those areas that this book focuses on and has you kind of take a deep dive into yourself about what's important in those areas or what works for you in those areas. There's working the body, which kind of leads to movement and activity. And then there's surroundings, those things that keep you healthy and well in your surroundings. They can be noises, sounds, smells, all kinds of things, the lights, the color of the wall paint. Then there's food and drink, the things that we eat. There's recharge, that energy, what keeps us going every day. What do we enjoy doing to recharge? Then we have family, friends, and coworkers, those relationships that we all know are very important. And there's a variety of ways that we can have relationships. And then spirit and soul is the next section. How you feel about yourself. Are you comfortable with who you are? Do you really know what's important to you? All of your things that drive you and motivate you. And then lastly, power of the mind. Doing those things that challenge our mind and help us stay positive and healthy and well. Then when you look outside the next area of this circle, how does that play into your health care? Whether it's clinical care, meeting with your doctors, making sure you're taking care of yourself there, keeping up with your medications, just knowing your general health overall and how that pertains to that you in the middle and your personal goals. Why you want your health and well-being. Why do you want to be healthy and well? What are you looking forward to in life? And then that last circle on the outside is really touching on community. That's where we live. That's where we spend our time. Our homes are our community, but outside those homes are our community as well. When we go into the stores, when we visit the parks, all the things within your personal community. How do you attach that center to all those things so that that life and your value of life spreads to a healthy place? So it's really important to be aware of those things. And at the top of that page, it talks about each of those circles and kind of breaks it down a little bit like I did. At the bottom, it asks you to think about which components in this circle that we talked about are important to you. Which ones stood out? Can you think of that? If you take just a minute to look at those areas on that circle, what stands out to you is what's important to you most. Though we know they're all intertwined, you can't have one without the other, and they're all very important, connected. Some may be addressed in the same way as the other area. But just taking time to actually evaluate these things in our life and what we may need to have a little bit more balance. So once you've identified what's important to you, then you can think about what's an area that I would like to improve on, one that I'm not doing as well as I'd like to do in. Then it asks you to dive a little bit deeper. Think about, why did you choose that area? Maybe You haven't connected with your family members as much as you'd like to. Or you've been eating right, but you haven't been doing the exercise that you'd like to do along with that. So just figuring out those areas that are important that you're doing well, and also identifying what you'd like to improve on and why that stands out to you. So if we turn the page, we're going to talk about each of those individual areas and how you can specifically address them. I'm sure that if you took time to look at each one of those components, you would be able to think of the things that you do that make you think of that area that you're connected to. So while we're going through this, I'm going to give you some suggestions. We'll read through the lists. But if you can come up with anything that, hey, that's not on the list and I think it's something that's really important to me, you can add it to the list. Or maybe if you talk with your family and your friends, these workbooks are really neat to review with family and friends and connect with people. Maybe the people in your living areas, the staff. Just getting to know each other and sharing ideas about these can really open up the thought process of what it means to work in those areas of health and wellness. So let's talk about power of the mind first. What does that mean to you? Without looking at the activities, when you hear those words, what do they mean? For me, when I hear power of the mind, it thinks how strong my attitude plays a role in my daily life. The mind is a very powerful thing. For you, it may mean something very different. There's no wrong answer here for what our thoughts are or feelings are about what power of the mind brings into our life. Can you think of things that you do that strengthen your power of your mind? If they're not on this list, you can write them on there and add it. Let's talk about some of the things that are on the list. Positive thinking. There's all kinds of books, websites, applications that can help you with positive affirmations. That means just thinking something good. Our mind can tell us a lot of wrong things. For example, I feel fat today. That's just a thought. It's not necessarily factual, but if I'm mindful and I catch myself, I can say, I like the colors that I'm wearing today, and I think I look pretty good in this outfit. I like the way my hair looks. But trying to think of positive things to say about ourselves when we hear those negative thoughts creep in. Meditation. This means different things to many people. It can be actually guided meditation. Again, there's applications. You can find guides on how to follow a certain meditation on the website. Anything like that. You can just Google meditation outlines and it will give you things to walk through in a meditation process. So meditation can be prayer for some people, but it's just taking some quiet time to attend to yourself and think about what's valuable and important to you and really focus that energy on self. There's also deep breathing exercises. Again, you can Google breathing exercises. Taking just nice, calm, mindful breaths, bringing the attention to the breath. All kinds of things you can do there with the breath. Again, mindfulness, being mindful of how you eat, how you talk, how you treat people that are in and out of your daily lives. There's no wrong way to do this as well. Being mindful of your medication, knowing the role of those medications and how they help you, and knowing when you have side effects from those and how to communicate with your care providers about those. All of that is power of the mind. Music, one of my favorites. I could probably add that to every box here. But music can be very powerful as well. It can be something that helps you learn. You could play music, listen to music, dance to music, create music, write music. But music can be a very powerful thing for the mind. And lastly, reading. It's not one of my favorite things, but tons of my friends find great pleasure in reading, and it really strengthens their mind and their memory. So those are just a few things as suggestions that you could do to work on power of the mind. If you can think of any more, feel free to jot them down and share them with folks or ask others ideas they may have. Next, working the body. We often think that working the body means we have to sweat and hurt ourselves and really overdo it sometimes. Lift as much weight as possible. Get my personal record in weightlifting. That's not true. The more you move, the more exercise that is. I talked in the intro that I did a week or so ago about just standing burns more calories than sitting. Sitting burns more calories than laying. So when you think about it from that aspect, working in a garden is exercise, riding a bike, swimming in a pool is great cardiovascular exercise. All different kinds of things you can do, taking the stairs, walking instead of riding somewhere. So there's lots of ways that you can exercise. There's yoga, there's Tai Chi, you can go hiking, all different kind of neat things that you can do to stay healthy and well in movement. Maybe just getting up and walking back and forth in your room once a day. Walking to the mailbox. Take small steps in movement if that's something you haven't been doing regularly. Again, what things make you feel healthy and moving? Some people are confined to chairs. You can get elastic stretching material to do some exercises from a chair, but you can be very creative about what movement is. Just stretching the arms can be movement. If you sit all day and you don't do that, you'll start to lose that range of motion. Moving on to recharge. A lot of people think this is just sleep, but that's really important, right? We know that we need to get about 8 hours of sleep per day. That's not always the way our body chooses for us, though we may try. But there's other things that recharge us. I know that when I spend time with some of my best lifelong friends, it recharges me. It gives me energy and it makes me feel good. It is a form of rest from my busy, worrying mind. Other things you can do to recharge, besides that 7-8 hours to sleep, maybe you can't get that full time of sleep. What about power naps? Taking a little 30-minute nap during the day. As we get older, sometimes that's the best way to do that, as long as we don't sleep all day long. Alone time, that can help us recharge. If we're always trying to take care of others and do for others, we really need to take some time to spend alone and be comfortable with ourselves. Your favorite activity or hobby can also be an activity for recharging. Vacations, quiet time. A vacation doesn't mean I have to spend a lot of money and go to Hawaii. Maybe I just get in my car and drive out to my favorite place on the river where I grew up. Or something simple like that, a city park, an art museum. Something that I enjoy doing can be recharging. Are there other things you can think of that help you recharge? Jot them down. Get ideas from other people. Next, food and drink. This is a really important part of that wellness circle. What we put in our bodies really plays an effect on how we feel, how we sleep, the energy we have, our moods. So you really want to try to eat those balanced meals daily. You want to try to eat healthy helpings, and you want to try to be balanced. Sometimes if you're like me, I love sugar. So I really have to think about the amount of intake that I have with sugar, and am I balancing them out with healthy fruits, vegetables, and those needed minerals and vitamins that my body needs. So food and drink, we're also made up of water, right? Try to add water, an extra cup of water each day instead of maybe a soda, replacing an unhealthy beverage if you happen to have those in your regular diet, like Dr. Pepper, Mountain Dew, really sugary, caffeinated drinks. Trying to replace at least one of those with water. Water is a very, very healthy substance. It's the majority of what our bodies are made up of, and we really need that water to replenish and rejuvenate our body. Healthy snacks. Well, I can have a bag of those miniature Reese's peanut butter cups in my desk, or I can choose to have some carrots in the refrigerator. And maybe I balance it out and allow myself to have those Reese's peanut butter cups once or twice a week, but I really want to have almonds, carrots, natural healthy foods to snack on in between my major meals. If you're like me, you can also try to replace some of that sugar-free stuff or the sugar-loaded things with sugar-free items and still get that little bit of sweet tooth craving controlled. Creating your own garden helps you eat more healthy, and also being aware of vitamins that you can take to replenish some that you may not be getting through the food that you eat. Make sure to always talk to your care providers about the best diet for you, and also before taking any vitamins or supplements to make sure they don't conflict with any of the medications you may be taking.